All right, next up is our own Rick Payne, who hopefully some of you saw when he brought the house down at our second Ignite. Back and remarkably healthy.
Woo, good to be here. Thank you, Joe, for doing this again. Thank you. I'm glad to be here, for real. I have been in remission for 27 months. I've been back to work full-time since November. I was told in March that I had the hardest treatment the Jewish hospital has ever given a cancer patient. And it's no fluke that I'm standing here right now. Here is the short list of all the crap that I've had to go through. I have had acute promyelocytic leukemia 5 times. I have had 2 bone marrow transplants from unrelated donors. I had total body irradiation, total lung failure at one point, a near-fatal fungal infection in my face, 8 spinal taps over 30 bone marrow biopsies, partial paralysis, retinal bleeding, blah, blah, blah. I had mono the whole time, all 5 years, still do. And the biggest crap part is in April of this year, I got chicken pox again. That's some crap. For those of you that don't know what a bone marrow transplant looks like, this is it. It's approximately a 45-minute long IV. Unfortunately, the chemo that goes along with it is really hard. The IV part is that, and this is just a bag of marrow. It's no fluke that I'm here, and this is how I did it. First thing you got to do is your first win is to shave your head, because you got to be in control. Long story short, you don't let cancer decide when your head gets shaved. You do. And when you have cancer, it's your full-time job. That is your focus. Your job is to get better. And there's a lot more to it than just taking your pills and worrying about the cancer. There's so many other things that you have to worry about as well as the sickness. But here's the mantra. This is the mantra. This is, if you do this, this will get you through. Only control the things that you can control. Everything else doesn't matter. Because you only have a limited amount of energy and a limited amount of time that you're going to have when you're sick. And you've got to use that time well. And here are the 3 things that you need to control. I mean, obviously, you got yourself. This is me. Go Reds. 2, you have to keep insurance. You have to. And then everybody is always afraid, what's going to happen with my money? How am I going to afford this? The first step you got to do to take care of yourself is you have to keep your attitude positive. You have to. It is hard. And if you get down, it's hard to lift yourself up. And attitude is a choice that you have to make. If you choose to make cancer your full-time job, you have to choose that. And you cannot do it alone. You have to ask for help. It takes at least 2 people to survive a cancer. It takes a caregiver at a minimum. But the insurance, the problems with insurance and money and everything that you have to deal with, you cannot do it alone. You have to ask for help. There's a lot of organizations out there besides your friends and family that can help you get you through this. The Leukemia and Lymphoma Society gave me a ton of money to help me get my pills, and I'm very thankful for them. I had to do a ton of fundraisers. These are the doctors that saved my life. And one of the most important things is to maximize your doctor's time. These people serve typically 90 to 100 patients at a time. You're lucky to get 10 minutes a day with these people, so you've got to really focus on that, and that is key. The hardest part about everything I went through was not the actual cancer itself. It was keeping my health insurance. Health insurance in this country is broken. It's very broken. And I know it. I lived it, and it was hard. Because the first week I was in the hospital in 2007, the first thing I thought was, not how am I going to survive this, it's how am I going to keep my insurance? How am I going to get all my medication? That's a picture of all my medication right now. Am I going to be financially ruined from this? Am I going to become a pre-existing condition? I did what I had to. In order to keep my insurance, at some point, I had to self-administer my own chemo so I could work 30 hours a week and do 5 hours of chemo every day. This is me mixing my own chemo and getting it in summer of 2007. And this is how I feel about insurance. Because it was tough. They denied my first transplant. I've had all the insurance. And believe it or not, the best insurance I've had is Medicare. Hands down. Everybody's afraid of financial ruin. And bankruptcy is not a real legit option, especially for me. I'm 32. That could spell financial ruin for me. And a lot of people do have to make sacrifices. A lot of people lose their houses and lose everything they have. But I'll tell you a secret that most people don't know. If you pay $20 a month to your bills, which is reasonable, it's like having a 0% interest loan. Eventually, companies will get sick of billing you, and they'll write it off, and it'll go away. Unfortunately, the biggest problem with healthcare is that even though you can go to the emergency room and get put into a stable condition, they don't give you your medicine. That pill right there is what saved my life. And they don't give you prescriptions. And if without health insurance and without money, you can't get your pills and you can't live. These are my friends that didn't make it because they didn't have good matches. And one thing I'd like to ask everybody here, something you can control, something I can control is I can get out the message. And I can ask you guys to consider bone marrow donation. In the back, I have pamphlets that have common facts. I appreciate, and I please ask you to grab one on your way out. Thank you very much for your time.
Rick's been through some extraordinary things. I'm glad Ignite's been able to be a small part of that. One thing he said when he spoke at the second Ignite was that he determined at the first Ignite he was going to live long enough to talk at the second Ignite, and he told me it helped him get through a lot of hard chemo. And I've had multi-hour conversations with Rick that he doesn't remember. So I know how hard it's been to him. You guys bought him an iPad when he was in the depths of some of the hardest parts of this.